विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तं हदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशम् मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंशर्षिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। वेदान्तार्थ विभासकाय गुरवे शान्ताय सन्न्यासिने नानावादीनगेन्द्र संघपवये योगीन्द्रवन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्तदिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभिधां बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततं पूर्णाय बोधात्मने। At this very outset, let me convey my best wishes to all of you on this auspicious occasion of Krishna Janmashtami. By the Hindu calendar, this is the day when Bhagavan Shri Krishna incarnated on this earth, when the supreme reality, in order to restore the world back to the order of Dharma and to reveal this knowledge, appears amongst us in the very realm of time and space, in the very relative realm, the absolute, that which is untouched by time and space, incarnates as Shri Krishna. So today being the anniversary or the Jayanti of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, which according to the Hindu calendar is celebrated on this the 8th day of Bhadrapad, or in the South Indian calendars, or by the other calendar, which is the 8th day of the dark fourth night of the Shravan month, Bhagavan Shri Krishna appears when the constellation is in Rohini Nakshatra. There is this constellation called as Rohini. So we celebrate this day with a lot of pomp and joy all over the country. And wherever the people who follow the Indian Hindu calendar and also believe in the systems of celebrations follow this day as Shri Krishna's day of incarnation. One of the purposes of every incarnation is to bring forth the knowledge which will release every person from the clutches of misery. And that knowledge we call as Brahmajnana, whose original source is the Upanishad, is the Veda. And that very knowledge emanates, emerges, comes again in brighter light for blessing the humanity. So this is a knowledge which is timeless. This is the knowledge which is not concerned with a particular geographical region or a particular framework of a historical segment of time, but it belongs to everyone and it belongs to all the times. We must remember one thing very clearly, and that is knowledge belongs to the one who understands it. There is nobody who can claim ownership of knowledge. There is nobody who can claim that knowledge is a monopoly of a certain community or of a certain person. Knowledge will always belong to anyone who understands it. It is neither racial, classist, gender biased, or of no other standards are applicable for knowledge to belong to anyone. Knowledge belongs only to that person who understands it. And so over here, it is only in understanding what is Atma and what is Anatma, one will be released from the clutches of misery. Is not a promise, but it is a statement of fact. A promise is something which will be always pending in time. If one is able to understand it right now, the release is right away. And therefore, all that is required is only the effort on the person's, on every seeker's part to make himself available to knowledge. And that knowledge is also something which takes place when the conditions for knowledge to take place are available. And the condition is when the pramanas function, the knowledge is generated. When the appropriate means of knowledge are able to function, and when they are able to function without any obstacle, the knowledge takes place. And therefore, over here, there is neither any place for fanaticism or of any kind of adamancy. It simply is to make yourself available, expose yourself to the means of knowledge. That is all what is required. Bhagavan Shri Krishna, now over here on the battlefield, reveals this knowledge not just to Arjuna, but this knowledge ever since has remained like a bright lamp for every seeker on the path of moksha. Arjuna had expressed his grief and he had said that I do not see any way out of it. And therefore, O Lord, now you alone are my refuge to pull me out of this quagmire, out of this quicksand. Pull me out, bring me out of it. And the Lord Bhagavan Krishna then speaks and explains that, O Arjuna, only a person who is able to keep his balance in polarities, who does not get affected by the polarities, by sukha and dukkha, by situations of joy or situations of sorrow. A person who is able to retain his balance even in situations of success and failure, in situations of heat and cold, all polarities, all pairs of opposites. Only such a person then amritatvaya kalpate becomes capable of attaining amritatvam, the very nectar of immortality, the very essence of immortality. And it is nectar, which means it is not a bitter medicine, but it is something, it is the ambrosia of immortality. So now, which means immortality does not mean that the person will not fall sick or he will never ever, die when the rest of the people are dying and will continue to live generations after generations. It is not a silly idea like that. Immortality means where one discovers that he is untouched by death, which means untouched by time. And that is what is the true nature of the self. The body-mind complex, which is subject to time. The body will keep on changing. The mind will keep on changing. The senses will also keep on changing, transforming, deteriorating. In midst of all these changes, in midst of all these what is constantly changing, one will be able to discover, see that there is this point which never ever changes, on which all these changes are happening, and the nature of all that is changing is only an appearance. But the reality behind all these changing names and forms is which is unchanging, stable, stationary, unmoving. And thus, he who has discovered that point as the very self now finds that he was always free. Never was he even bound by misery. And therefore, in spite of being free, yet we find ourselves in drowning in misery, is then only because of ignorance. When the bondage is because of ignorance, the release is due to knowledge. Only in knowing, and therefore this knowledge is now being revealed by that supreme reality in the form, in that incarnation as Sri Krishna. And a particular form then becomes an incarnation because in that form, the reality is no longer veiled, is no longer concealed like how it remains concealed in our case. The beauty, the joy is always is always unconcealed, and therefore that is the incarnation. Now here we proceed further. When Bhagavan Shri Krishna now says in 16th verse where we had left last time, let us come back to that. Let's read the verse and go ahead. Recite the verse. नासतो विद्यते भावो ना भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः. अर्जुन, असतः भावः न विद्यते. That what is unreal does not exist, and that what is real never ceases to exist. Abhavaha tasya abhavaha na vidyate. Kasya abhavaha, non-existence of that what is real is never there, and existence of that what is unreal is not there. That what is unreal, that what is asat, does not exist. Now the question that comes is, sir, we do know that what is not real doesn't exist. For example, Shashashringa, the horn of a rabbit, it is unreal and therefore does not exist. That what is asat does not exist. And that what is real is there. Tasya abhavaha na vidyate, because it is there. It exists. Its absence is not there. Whereas something like Shashashringa, the horn of a rabbit, never exists, doesn't exist, is always absent. Is this some sort of a great revelation? Even a child would know that a horn of a rabbit is non-existent. And if Sri Krishna Bhagavan is going to talk about this, then what is the great achievement? What is it that he has achieved by saying this? Because if he is going to say something that is already known to us, we don't require anything, and that will not even become knowledge, because knowledge would mean that something which was unknown to me before needs to become known. And if something that is already known to me, if you are going to repeat it, at the most it can become a reminder. It can become something that will remind me, but it cannot become knowledge. I have already known it, and therefore it is not going to be knowledge to me. It may become a reminder. Anuvadak only. It does not have anything more than that. No value. And if something is there, known, something is already known, And if you are going to repeat it, it is redundant. I didn't require it. And if you are going to provide something that is not required, it is not going to be of any value. So by saying asataha bhavaha navidyate, that what is unreal does not exist. What have you achieved, Shri Krishna? What have you achieved by bringing this sentence? And therefore now it becomes a point of inquiry that it is not an ordinary statement which can be cast into the category of redundant statement. It is a statement to reveal something that is unknown. And therefore now this means that we cannot just give an ordinary treatment to this statement. We have to really think about it. It is crisp, it is cryptic, and therefore it demands that we pay more attention to it. Asataha bhavaha navidyate, that what is non-existent, that what is not real does not exist. Now over here, the catch is that something that is not real is considered to be real by us. Something which is not real is considered to be real by us. And therefore, only under this condition, the statement will become meaningful. Something that is real is considered to be non-existent or which can become non-existent. And therefore, now he has to redefine what is real and what is not real. The definitions for what is not real is that it does not exist. It may appear to exist. It may appear to exist. There is a difference. Something which is really not existent, but it may appear to exist. Because it appears to exist does not make that what is unreal as real. This is the golden rule. Something which is unreal can appear to exist. Can you provide us some example? Yes, sir. The most ready example is the snake on the rope, Rajju Sarpa. Now look at that example and then we will see its application in what Shri Krishna Bhagavan has to say. The snake, which is seen by a person on having entered an inadequately lit area, he sees the snake. He screams, he gets scared, he is petrified, he sweats, with palpitations increasing in his heart. Everything may happen. The snake appears to be there. But on having lit the light, he discovers the rope. And at that moment of revelation, this same very person who claimed there is a snake, now he himself says the snake was never there, will not be there, and is not there. So the snake was not there in all the three periods of time. The snake was absent in all the three periods of time, and yet it appeared to be there. Something which is not real appears to be there. Something which is not real, something which is non-existent appears to exist. And just because something appears to exist does not make it real. Because real, now we will have to redefine what exactly is meant by real. Then the meaning of real is something which is always there in all the three segments of time. Trikala Bhathyam, which means in all the three periods of time, it is never absent. Even if it becomes absent in any other frame of time, it is then going to be in the category of asat. The snake may appear to be there presently, but was not there before and is not going to be there later. Therefore, what we see in the two spaces, before and after, is absence of the snake. That which is absent in the prior frame of time and later frame of time, Shri Krishna is revealing is absent even now. Even in the present frame of time, it is not there. Then it just appears to be there. Now look at this whole world of all the names and forms, including your body, minds, and senses. Something which is not there before, which was not there before, is not going to be there later. And this is what is considered, therefore, that which is asat is considered to be real. That which is not real appears to be real, and we do not know this in order to reveal what is real, what is not real, in order to reveal what is satyam and what is asatyam. Now, Bhagavan Shri Krishna's statement becomes valid at this point. It is not a statement which can be just given an ordinary treatment. If we are not going to be very cautious in handling those words, we are definitely going to miss the essence. Therefore, a complete attention to what is being spoken by Shri Krishna, by the teacher, by this Jagat Guru, is of immense importance. That what is asat never exists. And that what is sat does not have non-existence. So now, at this point, we have to really understand what exactly is meant by sat, what exactly is meant by asat. Because in the ultimate analysis, we are going to discover that by Sat, what is meant is Atma, and that by Asat, what is meant is Anatma. With this, a great revolutionary understanding will take place, and that is that what is Anatma is unreal, and the only thing that is real is Atma, and that is what I am. Therefore, Arjuna, how can there be any sorrow? How can there be any grief for Anatma? For Atma, concerning the Atma, there cannot be any grief. There cannot be, the Atma cannot be the cause of sorrow. The Anatma cannot become the cause of sorrow. Now you tell me, when there is nothing else, there is no third category, how are you going to justify sorrow? For what? And therefore, those who have known what is the true nature of Atma and what is the true nature of Anatma will always be free from sorrow. This is the freedom that the Lord, the teacher, gives you. Just knowing this is sufficient enough. Therefore, it is only freedom from ignorance which is actually freedom from sorrow. Therefore, you will find that our teachers have conclusively declared that what is moksha, and they will say it is only freedom from ignorance. What is liberation? What is the end of sorrow? They will say it is avidyanash. Avidyanash, that destruction of ignorance is freedom. That is moksha. Therefore, moksha is not defined as having gone to heaven, another place, or having attained another state of mind. No, sir, by the very virtue that it is a state of mind, which means mind by itself, which is a material which keeps on changing every moment, then the state of the mind will also change, because the mind is constantly changing. And if, according to you, liberation is a state of mind, then the liberation which you have achieved on Monday, by Tuesday it is already gone. What liberation was that? If that liberation is going to disappear and change into bondage, then that is not liberation. It is bondage which is just changing its mask. Ignorance masquerading as freedom. Knowledge is freedom, because knowledge means destruction of ignorance. From one angle, knowledge is something that brings the destruction of ignorance. So knowledge becomes the cause of liberation from one point of angle. From another angle, knowledge itself is liberation. From one angle, destruction of ignorance is liberation. And from another angle, destruction of ignorance brings liberation. But do not get caught up over here in these words, because in one place it may appear that knowledge is the cause of liberation. In another place, it may appear that destruction of ignorance is the cause of liberation. And in another place, it may appear that knowledge itself is liberation. In the fourth point, it may appear that destruction of ignorance is liberation. Over here, the relationship of cause and effect seems to be there between destruction of ignorance and liberation, between knowledge and liberation. From another standpoint, knowledge itself is liberation, destruction of ignorance itself is liberation. But sir, this cause and effect is from two angles. What is true is, with knowledge, ignorance is destroyed, and then call it as the cause of liberation or call it as liberation itself does not matter. It does not matter, because this is what happens. Here you have Sat and Asat, not knowing what is Sat, not knowing what is Asat, not knowing what is real and not knowing what is not real, causes this confusion. And the confusion is that what is not real is considered to be real, and that what is real now is considered to be not real. There is this confusion, and therefore, in order to remove the confusion, the statement that na sato vidyate bhavaha na bhavo vidyate sataha, this statement becomes immensely useful, because it is revealing what is Sat and it is revealing what is Asat. Friends, let's proceed ahead. Ramaraya Kavi gives a lucid explanation, a commentary on what has been said by Bhagwan Shankaracharya to explain this. So there is a gloss which is available, and that gloss is by Ramaraya Kavi. As much as I have taken the help from Madhusudana Saraswati, I'm even bringing to you something that is said by Ramaraya Kavi. Yasya kalatrayepi abhavaha nasti tadeva sat. He says, what is Sat? Tadeva sat. That alone can be called as Sat. Now, if the word Sat, Satyam, keep it together. So that what is Sat? That alone is Sat. What? Yasya kalatrayepi abhavaha nasti, which is never absent in all the three periods of time, is Sat. Kalatraya means the three periods of time. Now, whatever you are considering as real, the whole world of all names and forms, does it really exist in all the three periods of time? Any name and form, take for an example just this clay pot. Was this clay pot there before it was created? Will it be there after it is destroyed, broken? So we are now forced to say that the clay pot had a prior absence, and the clay pot has a latter absence. Pragabhava and Dvamsa. Dvamsa means latter absence. Abhava is absence. Prag means prior. The pot was absent before it was created. The pot is absent even after it is destroyed. So we cannot say pot is something which exists in all the three periods of time. It may exist only in one period of time. And that existence of the pot only during that one frame of time cannot be used to say that it is real. Because if you are going to say that something which exists in only one frame of time is real, if you are going to use this as the standard to define what is real, then you will be forced to say that even your dream objects are also real. Because any dream object was absent even before the dream began and is absent after the dream ends. So there is a prior absence, there is a latter absence to those dream objects. But it did exist only in that one frame of time when it was being experienced. Just only in one frame of time, if something is existing in only one frame of time, and if this is the standard by which you are going to judge if the thing is real, then now you will be forced even to say that the dream object is real. But who wakes up to say that the dream objects were real? Who wakes up to say that the dream objects were real? Though it may have existed in one frame of time, only in that frame of time when it was being experienced. So also this world of all names and forms is experienced only in one frame of time, before and after it is all absent. And therefore, this world of objects which you are experiencing even in the waking is also equivalent to that what is equivalent to your dream and dream objects. Therefore, something which appears to be real is not necessarily real. And in fact, something which appears to be real is not really real. Then what is real, sir? That which is never absent in all the three periods of time. Please provide any other definition to the word real. Try to provide any other definition to the word real. and you will fail. If you are going to say something which is experienced is real, then you are experiencing even the snake on the rope. Just because it is experienced, does it make it real? We both agree on saying that the snake was not real. Why are you saying now? Analyze the reason why you are saying that the snake is not real. That snake on the rope is not real. What is the reason? What are the factors involved in you giving a judgment about that snake on the rope as not being real? It is experienced when just in one frame of time, not prior to that, not later. The whole world is now cast into this category of asat. The anatma is cast into this category of asat. When you are going to apply this standard to investigate what is sat and what is asat, you will find that all the world of names and forms, including this body-mind complex, is also going to fall into the category of asat. Yasya kalatrayepi abhavaha nasti tadeva sat. That what is never absent in all the three periods of time is sat. Therefore, when you are saying in a relative way that the rope is real, the snake is not real. What makes you even say that the rope is real, the snake is not real? When it comes to the example of snake and the rope, because the snake was, what do they call, the rope was there even before the snake was seen. The rope is there even when the snake is seen. The rope is there even when the snake is again not seen. And because the rope is there in all the three periods, before the snake, after the snake, and even when the snake is seen, you are now forced to say that the snake rope is real and the snake is not real. But you will also say one more thing, and that is the snake appeared to be real. That which appears to be real is misunderstood as real, and therefore there is a need to say it is not. So therefore, the statement of Bhagavan Krishna becomes valid now. Tadeva Sat. Ramaraya Kavi further adds and he says, Yasya pratiti samaye eva bhavaha. That which exists only in the time frame, only in the frame of its, when it is being experienced. Pay attention to the whole sentence. Yasya tu pratiti samaye eva tu bhavaha. That which exists only when it is experienced. Now apply this to the snake, rope and the snake. Apply it and discover how are we going to understand what is real, what is not real? Because both of us have accepted the example of snake and rope. And over here, in a relative way, we are going to say that the rope is real, the snake is not real. So somewhere we have an understanding which allows us to say what is real, what is not real. Then what is that standard by which we are able to measure, we are able to judge what is real, what is not real. And that standard is just this, that something can exist, and if it exists in all the three periods, it is real. Then what is unreal? You will say that which does not exist in all the three periods. Now, the implication of the second statement is more important. Understanding this second statement is more important. We have understood that what is real is something which exists in all the three periods. But what is unreal? We are going to say that something which does not exist in all the three periods. Implication is something which exists only in one period, but not the other two, is also something which is not there in all the three periods because it is absent in the other two. So just pratiti samaye eva tu bhavaha, that which seems to exist only in at the time of its experience, it being experienced, like the dream or the snake in our example. The snake exists only when it is experienced. The dream objects exist only when it is being experienced, but is not there before and later. That is asat. Yasya tu pratiti samaye eva bhavaha natu kalatraye. And therefore it is not there in all the three periods. That is asat. Arjuna, discover. Now you have been handed over a very powerful standard criteria. Find out what is sat, find out what is asat. Because in knowing what is real and in knowing what is not real, you will be free from sorrow. Then now come back to analysis of our sorrow too. Then what can be the cause of sorrow? Then we are going to say that not knowing what is sat, what is asat, is the cause of sorrow, which means that what is sat is taken to be asat, and what is asat is taken to be sat. What is not real is taken to be real, and what is real is taken to be not real. Therefore, Krishna Bhagavan's statement is very valuable, very valid, and because it is valid, it retains pramanyam. It holds the value of being a valid means of knowledge. Lokastu naivam janati. This is not known by people. because we take things for face value. And what do we mean by that? That something which appears to be real is taken for granted by us as real. Something which appears to be real, it may not be real, it is not real, but then it is taken by us as to be real. And therefore, not knowing what is real, what is not real, is the cause of this confusion. And this confusion becomes the cause of dukkham. Kintu pratitam vastu satvena, apratitam vastu asatvena cha chanati. That which is experienced then is taken to be real. That which is not experienced is taken to be not real. Because this is the confusion. Sataloyam upadesha. Now this upadesha, the words of Sri Krishna, will hold value. It has a value. Apply it. What is it that is there in all the three periods? What is not there in all the three periods, but is there existent only in the time frame when it is experienced? Something which is there only in the time frame when it is experienced is exactly like the snake on the rope or like any dream object. Is this standard valid to all the objects, to the whole range of anatma or not, is what your analysis should be. And immediately you will discover that whatever this anatma is, has the status of, has the exact same status like any dream object, or has the same status of the snake on the rope. And what is that status? It is apparently real, but not real. That what is apparently real, which appears to be real, now we are going to even tell you it is asat. Bhagavan Krishna reveals Atma and Anatma. In just this knowledge has all, this knowledge has all that power, the power to release you from dukkham. In another place, the Upanishad says, what is knowledge? Ya sa vidya ya vimuktaye. That alone is vidya, that alone is knowledge, which sets you free. And that which cannot set you free is then what? It is ignorance masquerading as knowledge. It may have some use in our empirical world. That knowledge can help you buy a bread. That knowledge can help you do some bank transactions. That knowledge can make you street smart, but that knowledge cannot release. And therefore, that which cannot release is not knowledge, because knowledge means that which can release. Sa vidyaya vimuttaye. It is only knowledge has the power to release, to destroy the bondage. When we are able to stay put, when our capacity is there to stay put, apply ourselves to understanding these words of Sri Krishna. In my opinion, this is fructification of devotion. This is devotion of higher order. Devotion where a person simply feels longing for God is also devotion. But that devotion should fructify into this understanding, lead you to this knowledge. Because even the Puranas also define that bhakti or devotion has got two children, two sons. Bhakti is feminine gender, so bhakti, the word is feminine gender. And there is a very beautiful, what do they call, personification. Personification. Bhakti is Bhakti Devi. This Bhakti Devi has got two children, two sons. One is called as knowledge, the other is called as Vairagyam. If knowledge does not bring, if your devotion does not bring you to this point where you now become, you have the capacity, tenacity to stand and apply yourself to understand what is being spoken by Sri Krishna. Till then, the devotion has not fructified. It is devotion, but that devotion has not fructified. The fructification of devotion will happen when it reaches this point where now you are able to give yourself completely to this understanding. What is Sat? What is Asat? Let us dwell on this more as we proceed ahead when we meet next for Bhagavad Gita. I wish you all again a very happy Shri Krishna Janmashtami. May this devotion, dedication fructify in your life to truly understand what Bhagavan Shri Krishna brings to you. Because there you will understand and discover that this Shri Krishna is not a part, is this very self whom you refer as this I. Happy Janmashtami to all of you. Om Purnamataha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Thank you, friends.